My name's Justin Harris, and I do a lot of stuff. Right now, I'm a triathlete and I'm trying to turn pro. So we're at one of my sponsors, Dr. Ness's office, Performance Sports and Wellness. I come in, I see him, I get it adjusted, or if I have something bother me, he works it out like a tight or torn muscle.
How you feeling, Justin?
Feeling all right. Training, my foot's starting to feel better.
Good.
Although I ran a half hour on Friday, an hour on Saturday, about 15 minutes on Monday, and then yesterday I went for like 50. And I think I'm overdoing it a little. The foot started to feel a little iffy.
And I heard you telling me your quads hurt a little bit.
Yeah, my the usual spot.
First, he's gonna check to make sure my spine's aligned, and then he's gonna adjust me, put everything back in place.
So this is going to be a manipulation of his hip. And this technique is used by Olympic athletes, professional triathletes all over the world.
I'm in an interesting place right now because I'm not a pro, so I can't win money to help support myself. But I'm not like a weekend warrior, and it's really tough for people to differentiate between that. Between, I just do it on the weekends, I train after work, or I'm a full-time professional. I act like a professional, I have sponsors like a professional, but I don't hold my elite status. The criteria is you have to go to a race that has professionals there, and the race has to have a $20,000 purse prize for both men and women. That ensures that they're going to be top professionals there. You have to finish within, I think, like 5% of their time, or most races like that have an elite amateur category, and that's really what I consider myself. If I place top 3, I can automatically turn pro. My swim was all right. I cut it a little early. My arms were getting tired, and Mike, the guy who's helping coach me, said instead of like keep going on, like let's just kind of keep it safe. This is really like my first week back, and my arms were tired. So as far as positive influence, I mean, it's gonna sound kind of cheesy, but the twins at Rebecca and Laurel, I kind of see where they've made it. They've had their pro cards for a while, their elite cards. Rebecca was, rookie triathlete of the year, and Laurel followed up with that several years later. They keep getting these awards, they win big races, and to train with them is a positive experience because I see how hard it is, that you really have to work, how much you have to sacrifice, and how much it means to them.
I've been a professional triathlete since 2004. And I have been competing as a professional since 2008. I was a runner in college, and after college I started running road races with the New York City Roadrunners. Kind of got to the point where I was like, well, triathlon, I've heard of this sport. I had a friend in college who did triathlons, and I thought maybe this will be something I'd be good at because I swam so much growing up and I have a running background. All I need to do is learn how to ride a bike. I swam in college. I realized I could probably be pretty good at triathlon too. And it just seemed like a sport that was newer at the time and pretty exciting. So I think he's doing everything right, competing first as an amateur and trying to improve upon all of the disciplines and make sure that he improves his swimming, biking, and running. And he's done that, and this is going to be his final year, I think, as an amateur before he turns pro, and that's definitely the best way to do it.
Luckily, my father has been the biggest support. Last year, he really helped, paid for some of my bigger races, and but my biggest thing in pursuing this is not to be a burden to society. Not to go on welfare, and not to ask my parents for loans, and I feel like part of the process of being a young adult, is learning how to struggle. Right now we're at the Strong Gunk Running Company. This is one of my 3 jobs. I got it when I moved back from Hawaii.
I kind of fell into it. They were looking for some people and ended up working really well. Yeah, I have a pair. What size is she?
He's been a really essential part of what we've done here and trying to build the store within the community. Just brought in some great ideas in terms of marketing and really contributed to the vision of what the store wanted, or what we wanted the store to be, really.
You know, trying to train, you know, you're trying to rest. You know, I'm working at the running shop. I'm help coaching at SUNY New Paltz, which I love both of those things. You know, but you know, coaching started like a month before my race, and it's like, all right, now my time when I'm training, I have to be coaching the kids, so I got to find a different time to train.
Driving the knee up, you know, up. My last job is I work at Bikeway Bicycles over across the river in Wappingers Falls, and my role there is I was brought in as a triathlon specialist.
Team Bikeway, Justin is the president of it, and it's a new team. They just now organized it, but it's awesome. I mean, they have rides all the time that you can join in on. They have some really good athletes. I'm curious to see what happens with it. I think big things could happen with Team Bikeway. For me, it was a little unique because I'm representing Slovakia, so I had to go through their process, and I've been going back and forth with the federation, and they finally, this past winter, agreed to race as an elite for them. So.
Last year I was named the non-drafting USA Triathlon Athlete of the Year, which covers the Olympic distance and the 70.3 and Ironman distance races that aren't drafting.
The difference between a drafting and a non-drafting race is just that in a non-drafting race you have to kind of do what they call a time trial format, where you just get down in your aero bars and just hammer it on your own. And there's rules where you have to stay a certain distance back from other athletes so you don't catch their slipstream or their draft. And they definitely watch that. I've been penalized a couple of times for getting too close. But in drafting, it's all about packing it up together. You get into each other's stream, and you just go so much faster that way. And that's more the kind of racing that I like, because you don't have to worry about staying a certain distance back.
When I went to, I qualified for the World Championships in duathlon, which triathlon is swim, bike, run. Duathlon is run, bike, run. And I qualified for the World Championships, which were down in North Carolina. And the race cost $300, so that was $300 out of my pocket. You know, I didn't order my uniform until like 2 weeks before the race because I didn't have the money. And so to like go to bed at night knowing like you don't have everything prepared, and all your plans are based on like, you know, getting paid in the next day, and maybe getting paid late and not being able to do it, and I have to wait another day to like book the hotel. And you know, a week before I had a really great workout here on the track, and then every day after that my legs felt terrible. So having the stress of knowing that I may not have rent by the end of the month, that I have to book our whole trip, and now my legs aren't feeling good, which, you know, for the biggest race of the year and really of my career for a triathlete, you know, just going to bed at night was really tough.
So when I was 23, it's been about 10 years since I finished my treatment. I had Hodgkin's disease, which is cancer, and I had of the lymph system, and I had 6 months of chemotherapy. And then it just took me a while to recover from that. I wasn't able to do any exercise or anything really. And probably about 5 years after my treatment, I started feeling like I could do some stuff again. There was times when I couldn't even, I thought running 40 minutes was like the most I could ever do. So it's pretty amazing that I'm amazed at myself when I can actually run more than 40 minutes. I'm really thankful about that. But so I decided after, you know, about 5 years, I'll try to get myself in shape again. And yeah, it took me about that long to sort of get going. And that was in like 2006 when I started to try to do triathlons.
You know, it was tough to fall asleep knowing that I had so much riding on my shoulders. And this is not, I'm not saving the world, you know, it's not, you know, it's tough. It's like I can't complain because I'm doing something I love and I chose to do this, but you know, it is really hard. It is really hard. And I went there and I ended up getting second in the world for amateurs, and I lost by 4 seconds. You know, it came down to a kick, and the guy was just a better runner than I was. But I wasn't even able to enjoy it, unfortunately, because I didn't know right away that I got second, and I didn't want to say I got second until I saw the results. So I woke up the next morning, I saw the results that I was second, and you know, I had a slight reprieve when I got up on the podium and took the medal. You know, the United States went 1-2, and you know, finished second in the world. But as soon as I got done, in my head I was thinking, you know, it's the end of the month and I'm about $300 short on rent.
And Beck helped me coach me and get me back into shape and teach me how to ride a bike and get on my bike, and how she gave me her old bike. So I had a good mentor. But when I turned pro, actually Nike sort of found us, and they were interested in our story and included us in a couple ad campaigns, and then asked us to be part of the Livestrong team, which is really awesome because it's exactly what we like to do with our racing. We're raising awareness everywhere we go, and hopefully helping out other people that are affected by cancer.
I guess you could say it's about a typical ride that we go on. It was a little bit hillier than most rides because we were in the Catskills, obviously. But yeah, it was a good ride. I think we ended up riding 35, 40 miles.
You know, we'd like to do a lot of climbing, you know, because it makes us strong. You know, we weren't breathing too heavy, you know, going up, but it's what I think separates us from other athletes in other areas is it teaches us how to go hard on the bike quick. And it was really hot out. This is really truly the first hot day. It was in the 90s, low 90s, high 80s, and you know, some of us were suffering, and we had to stop for water as well, but it was good. I think we burned like 1,700 calories, you know, so almost a daily requirement in just one training. And you know, most of us trained earlier as well, so you know, I got done and stuffed my face. At the last bit of my day, which is class, I take one class a week to you know, keep going towards working on my master's, and then I'll go home and relax and go to bed. So, and repeat, wake up and repeat.
Justin is a phenomenal athlete. He's especially on the bike. He's really strong, and his running is right there where it needs to be. And if he stays healthy, he can. There's no limit, I would say, to how far he can go.
If anyone's well positioned to do it, he is. I mean, he's got a good situation. He's a hard worker. He's got the talent.
Justin is extremely talented. He comes from a running background, and I've heard his stories of how he started running in high school and was able to get really fast enough to get a college scholarship.
He's got the situation where he can put in, you know, whatever work he needs to do to, you know, make some kind of a living, and dedicate the rest of his life to doing, you know, to trying to become an Olympian.
Really, from a young age, I learned that there's no such thing as give up. You know, everyone feels down, everyone gets depressed a little bit, but if you give up, you're dead. You know, you're gonna have a much tougher time. So, give up is not in my mentality. But you know, these days I look at my friends. You know, yeah, they have much more secure lives, but a lot of them are not as happy as I am. You know, I get on my bike, or I go into the jobs I'm working, and I just put a smile on my face because, you know, I'm pursuing a dream.